So I think we can start. Welcome to the stream, Telco's Making a Difference. I think we've heard already yesterday quite interesting samples of people from operators and people working with operators seeing the need for change and actually making a difference. And I hope we get some more interesting information shared today. Small information, please use the microphone, although the room is small, but since we are streaming that live and recording, it's necessary. And today the start will be K.S. Lau, who you can set up already. He's the CTO and Vice President of Technology for Multi-Byte Info Technologies. He has an experience of 20 years in management and also a profound telco knowledge. He worked with various telco vendors and operators in the Hong Kong and China area, and pioneered a lot of projects in the operator area, and he wants to talk today about the open source telco. So the floor is yours.
Hello, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is K.S. Lau from Hong Kong, and good to come here. My first time to come here for this to enjoy this event. And we are MVNO in Hong Kong and China, and we got the license since last year, and we are rolling out our network this month. Actually, we are working with 2 operators in Hong Kong right now. So hopefully we can finish all the setup configuration at the end of this month. Initially, the first time when we got the MVNO license, we are not thinking about any infrastructure, anything. We just want to be pre-sales. On this diagram, probably will be the service provider MVNO. We have our building system, we have our customer service, all those stuff. So quite a while after, we are thinking about the service cases, study, all those stuff. So we try to get the license from the authority of Hong Kong. So we realized we need some kind of infrastructure to help us to roll out our service. What kind of infrastructure? So we are thinking. Yes, initially we just write up those diagrams to the Hong Kong authority. We are going to have all those equipment, something like that. So we get a call from ZTE. So as an operator, I think our most concern is the budget. How much we have to pay for all those infrastructure as an MVNO. So you will see SF MVNO, GMSE, GGSN, PGW, SMSC, HR, HSS, and USSD, gateways, and sort of. So we eventually come up with a code from the ZTE. So it breaks my mind. I need to breathe a little bit on the price. They are quite the price regarding the price figure. They are quite reasonable in part of it, but part of it is quite over. The money is a little bit over. So after we discuss with the vendor from a few times, we come up with another configuration. Honestly speaking, yeah. Regarding the cost of the infrastructure, in the core part, let's say the GMSC, PGW, GGSN, HR, HSS, I think they're quite reasonable in price, but they are still overpriced in a few components, especially in the IN, the OCS, SMSC, and USSC gateway. So I go around with a different kind of vendor solution regarding the cost. And eventually, when I talk to Telestex, they give me some insights, some offer. So they have a pretty well-built component, let's say the SMSC, USSD gateway, And especially they have quite a set of library, the GSM library, especially in the map message and diameter. I'm quite agree with the previous speaker about the API. Why the developer need the API, not the traditional programming method to handling all those map message and diameter. Why they need the API? Because to think about just the business logic is busy enough. And if you don't work with the API, you work with the protocol directly. You don't just need to handle the business logic. You also need to handle all those session setup, the timer, all those stuff. It will create a lot of problem and nightmare in your programming life. So eventually after Telestex come up and give me a few solutions in that area. So eventually we have built our own platform in OCS, SCP, this is the Camel Gateway, the SMSC, USSD. And another thing we have talked about, the DRA-DA is just for the 4G. So that will be the next wave. If you want to have more information why, then we can talk more about it. In Hong Kong, we have around, right now we have 24 MVNO. And in China, there's 44 MVNO license. You see in my diagram, in Hong Kong, we have MVNO since 2001. And right now, I think there's only 2 MVNO left since that time. Because almost most of the MVNO, they, at that time, it's just 2G services. There's some problem with the MVNO during that time because it's a new market. We are not quite focused on one thing. It's a niche market. A lot of MVNO just focus on the mass market. So eventually, I could say all those current running MVNO, they're running on the niche market. Let's say our company, we are focusing on the multi-SIM. It's a cross-border customer between China, Hong Kong, something like that. And up to now, our current focus on the business is between the cross-border between China and the East Asia customer. So yeah, as long as they lead a number between, when they're doing business between different countries, let's say China, Hong Kong, or Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, or Cambodia, something like that. We just offer this kind of service, the voice and SMS. And for sure, because during that time it's just 2G service, and now it is 4G. So our customer is more focusing on the 4G services. So that's why we also have GGSN and PGW, especially for the DRA and the DEA. This is the diameter router. Yeah. Our initial setup for the multi-number solution, actually, it's just very simple, SIM2 kit. It's on 2001. I think a lot of you know about this one. It's just a SIM2 kit and then perform the IMSI switching inside the SIM card. And at that time, we have something on our own development. It's regarding the voice and SMS forwarding between the two IMSI. Because during that time, we are hosting the number in 2 different HL, one in China and one in Hong Kong. So we have our own development is with a dialogic port with C program. That's the problem. During that time, that's the problem why I think nowadays the API is more advanced than the OCC program. Yes, at that time, actually, all the programming is on the C map signaling. The developer, they have to design the state diagram and then define all the business logic and then running on a Windows server. So there's a few different problems at that time. Is we have the programming the API. We have the scalability, so that's limited by the server platform, and that's the two main problems at that time. So today, that's another reason why I come across with the text, because nowadays the cloud is pretty mature, the cloud infrastructure. So we can rely on cloud platform to help us. In a different way to scale our platform, the performance issue. Let's say we can expand our VM size, or we can split our VM into different platform. In between, we can do a load balancer, all those stuff. That's help us to relieve, to help our solve the problem of the scalability. And at the meantime. Test library is pretty well defined in a way that help us to ignore all those timing and the low layer stuff. So we can set up the parameters setting up on behind, and then in our developer just to handle the API, all those HTTP API, all those and Java to handle all those parts. Yeah. So today, we are more or less focusing on our business. We have our billing system, our provisioning system, and our wholesale interface for the wholesale customer, and on the development side, we only more or less rely on our developer and a partnership with the Telesys to build on that one for all those services. And currently, we are interworking with the OCS platform. Yes, because with the MNO, quite a lot of them they are reluctant to connect with our OCS. So we still have to connect with our PGW directly. But there's still quite a few MNO partners, let's say in Macau partner, they allow us to connect to our OCS. So in that way, we will use the OCS to control all those traffic, the data bandwidth, and on the other side, on the other voice and SMS service, we just need to use the Camel gateway to handle all those parts. Yes. That's almost the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, KS. Any questions from the microphone? Okay.
I can do it on that one. So quick question is, are you using an HSS on the Telestax environment, or do you have this?
Just repeat it for the recording. So the question is whether they use an HSS on the Telestax environment.
Actually, our HSS is ZTE. Our HSS. Yeah. Actually, all those red size, the red line is for the Telestax product we are using. Actually, the current product is SMSC, USSD, OCS, and Camel Gateway a little bit. The SCP is they are running on the Camel Gateway, so we are using a Oracle store prod to handle the backend logic for the credit, for the balance handling stuff. And I think the most important part actually, up to now, the one we are missing, still missing, is the DRA, when we are connecting with the 4G MNO. I believe you have to figure out yourself, because even the vendor cannot help us too much on this part. They still, as MVNO, there's a little bit out of their knowledge to handle the connection between the MVNO and MNO. It's quite complicated, but still, I think you have to consider why and how you need a DRA, especially for the roaming cases. Yeah.
Excuse me, I have one more.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
You said that on Telestax you build the DRA. As far as I know, Telestax only has a diameter gateway, so it's not implementing the whole flow. The question is, do you build or do you develop on Telestax, or is a Telestax out-of-the-box solution?
So the question was whether the DRA is an out-of-the-box solution or just uses the Telestax stack for the component.
Actually, we do it based on the Telestack diameter library, to do a core routing. But because you have quite a lot of uncertain feature you need to think about. Let's say the changes of the AVP, the routing, the RealM, the host name RealM, the routing diameter, and all those few areas you have to design. Whether you are doing the relay or forwarding or redirect function. This depends on the function of your HR, because usually it's for the SXA and the SXA interface. But right now we also need it to handle the GY, SY stuff as well. Yeah.